On a lonely planet slowly spinning its way to damnation, amid the incompetence and unpreparedness of lesser space programs, one team stands resilient against the herds, putting their lives on the line to aid those who were previously unaware of the quick save option. Yes, it's the incredible adventures of Jebediah and his crack team of Kerbals. They are the Blunderbirds, saving the Kerbin race one stranded explorer at a time.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Blunderbirds, where I rescue other players' Kerbals that have got themselves stranded somehow. And this was a mission that really piqued my interest. A redditor by the slightly ironic name No Worry 2580 got themselves into a bit of a pickle by ending up with 3 Kerbals stranded aboard a Mun space station with no fuel to get home, and a further 7 Kerbals trapped on board a toppled Mun lander, of whom 4 are tourist Kerbals, meaning that they cannot exit the vehicle to EVA to a rescue craft. I figured this would be a fun challenge to tackle, and so here we are in the vehicle assembly building, constructing the machine that will help us pull this off. I was a bit limited here actually, because No Worry 2580 plays career, and the tech tree is incomplete. I am therefore limited by the technology of their time, and their budget. Though, to be honest, I didn't really pay much attention to the funds because it turned out the space agency could just afford this rocket, so all's a good there. My Blunderbird's fee ain't cheap, guys. The lander consists of course, lots of seating capacity, and I also fitted a small rover that can dock directly to the stranded lander and then to the Blunderbird ship, thus allowing the transfer of tourists without EVA. A lot of comments on the Reddit post suggested using the claw, but come on guys, that's for noobs. We've got to use the docking port on the lander, right? In fact, construction of the rover is complete there, and then we've got the docking ports there as well. So I think, looking at the screen, the lander is pretty much fully constructed. Now I tried to cover it with a fairing, but it turned out we haven't got a big enough fairing piece unlocked at this stage. I guess I could have gone to the tech tree and, unlocked some more parts, but I don't want to waste science unnecessarily. Anyway, the rest of the rocket isn't really all that special. I ended up with a triple-core Delta IV heavy-looking vehicle to power us off the pad, using onion staging mine, so it is more efficient than a Delta IV Heavy. I was restricted to 2.5 meter diameter pieces as our largest parts, and again, we don't have any fairing parts unlocked that are big enough for the Mun lander at the top of the stack, so the rocket did end up looking, somewhat clunky looking. As a remedy to having no fairing, I quickly added some nose cones to these fuel tanks on the lander to make it slightly more aerodynamic, although this is still it wouldn't fare that well in a wind tunnel test, would it? But this is Kerbal Space Program, and sometimes it's fun to be ridiculous with your rocket design sometimes. And there is the rocket on the launch pad. Now, as far as designs go, this is perhaps not my finest work. It's certainly not as cool as the Hover Pen by Novium, today's sponsor. Have you ever seen a pen that floats? I love products like this, and I am in love with my 2 Hover Pens from Novium. It's not just a pen, it's a Time magazine best invention of 2022. Designed to hover at a precise 23.5 degree angle to pay homage to Earth's axial tilt, and it's an instant conversation starter. The Future Edition Hover Pen features an interchangeable tip, letting you choose between a rollerball or a fountain pen tip. I'm always team fountain pen myself. But whichever you choose, the Hover Pen provides an incredibly smooth writing experience, and it comes in stunning colours like Mars Magma and Starlight Silver. Plus, it's refillable, so it's built to last. Want something even more extraordinary? There's a premium Meteorite edition that incorporates an actual fragment of a meteorite older than Earth. How amazing is that? Whether you're treating yourself or looking for a timeless gift, the Hover Pen blends art, space, and functionality into one exceptional package. Use my code MATTLOWNE for 20% off and free shipping to most countries, but act fast. This offer is only available for 48 hours. Click those links below. And there we are, blasting off the launch pad on our way to space, and then I guess the Mun orbit to go to the space station in Mun orbit, and then down to the surface. And well, I've already explained the premise of this video to you guys, right? And yeah, we've got Valentina there controlling the ship. Well, I mean, I'm controlling the ship, but in the canon of this mission, it's Valentina. But she's quite lonely in there, to be honest, because obviously there's a huge amount of seating capacity because of the fact that we need to rescue quick maths, 10 Kerbals, so we have at least 10 seats, which means that there's only really space for one Kerbal, right? Because we've got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, there is 11 seats. So there we go. I mean, it's been a while since I filmed this mission. It was yesterday for me. I'm recording this the day after, so I've kind of forgotten a lot of things about it. Kind of a sketchy staging just there. Those boosters came very close to touching the core stage and potentially destroying it. But unfortunately, like I said earlier, we are playing on career mode. We don't have the full tech tree unlocked, and we don't have Separatrons available at this stage. So had to just make do with the, is it the hydraulic detachment points? Hydraulic decouplers? I don't know. The most powerful decouplers in the game. I had to use those and hope for the best, and it all worked out fine in the end. Another thing that worked out fine in the end was the flight, I guess. I was kind of nervous that this thing would be really, really hard to steer, or like it would flip over and wouldn't be very stable because, look at it. There's no fairing covering that horrible, draggy upper stage, but it actually flew pretty well. So, yeah, I guess that's in part down to the good high power of the mainsail engines and the thrust vectoring that they have. Helped keep the whole thing under control, but of course the mainsail powered stages have all gone, the two side boosters, and now the main core as we ignite our upper stage, which is powered by the skipper engine. As we rapidly approach the border of space, there we go, our apoapsis is now in space, and our periapsis is pretty high as well. What does it say? 56 kilometers? So pretty high as well. So now it's just a case, I guess, of time warping. Yeah, I had to use physics time warp. It took a while to get through the upper parts of the atmosphere into space so we can use proper on-rails time warp, I guess. Trying to think if there's anything else I needed to cover during the ascent itself before we kind of move on to the next phase of the video, but no, I don't think there is. I say this because often as I film videos, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thing I could mention in the commentary that happened, and then I edit the video and I forget about all these things, and I do my commentary, and it has all these rambly tangents and lots of stuff that wasn't really that relevant, and then I watch it back, like proof watch it, and I'm like, now I see the footage in nice 4K resolution. I remember that was the thing I needed to talk about, and instead I was talking about, I don't know, bread making or some other equally irrelevant story that I happened to find myself wandering down at the time when I was, doing the commentary. Now, as you can see, our rocket's upper stage still has quite a bit of Delta V remaining, and it would be a shame to waste it, but I also don't want to clutter up No Worry 2580's Kerbin orbit. So what I decided to do was burn roughly halfway to the Mun with this stage. Then, at apoapsis, I'm going to perform a small retrograde burn to drop our periapsis into Kerbin's atmosphere for staging, so that the spent fuel tank and engine don't get left floating in space forever, and we can do a quick prograde burn with the lander's engines to ensure our periapsis is above the atmospheric border for us during the second burn to the Mun. While this whole sequence was to make use of the second stage's remaining fuel while also keeping space clean from clutter, it also saves us a fractional amount of Delta V by spending slightly longer burning closer to our Kerbin periapsis. Prograde burns are more efficient the faster you are moving, per the Oberth effect, and so hey, another happy bonus there. And would you look at that, all of that has just taken place, I guess. We can now stage that lower stage and let it drop into the atmosphere, and then we can activate our Terrier engines. And well, first of all, I'm going to do a little quick anti-normal direction, I think that was, burn, to make sure we didn't smack back into the lower stage when we did our prograde burn. And there we are, our periapsis is at 75 kilometers, well above the atmospheric border, and we can plot the, I guess, the rest of the journey to the Mun. Now, we're not going to do a particularly efficient, is that the right word? Or we're not going to do a particularly conventional path to the Mun, because of course, we're not aiming to go to Lowne orbit and then do the landing. We need to dock with the space station, which I renamed the vessel, by the way. No worry, 2580. Your orbits are kind of really messy. There's loads of like random empty craft that I guess are from like contracts or whatever. But the space station, the icon, it was just like a craft, like a lander. I don't know what it is. Is it a ship? The default logo in Kerbal Space Program, so I changed the logo to be the space station logo so I could identify it a bit more easily from the map screen. And there it is. It's a kind of an awkward spot. It's at this really sort of eccentric, tilted orbit. So had my work. I mean, it was fine, but I took a moment to get the maneuver nodes planned. That's the new word I'm going to get the maneuver nodes planned out and get the rendezvous. But as you can see, our little encounter nodes are getting closer and closer, so didn't take too long to get a nice encounter, and then we can just time warp to that maneuver node and then execute. And the awkwardness of the space station and the sheer number of Kerbals involved in this rescue mission was kind of one of the reasons I picked this. I do get like a lot of Blunderbirds requests, and I see a lot of rescue mission opportunities pop up on the subreddit and my Discord every now and then, but I don't take most of them because it is just like go to the place, land there, and then come back again. So I kind of like a bit more selective about Blunderbirds missions these days. Also, I don't want to oversaturate the whole Blunderbirds thing, right? If it was like every single week, I feel like people would get really tired of the concept. But yeah, I don't want to like just do the same thing over and over. So I kind of pick missions that seem like they're more interesting. So, for example, I did that Juna one. I think, was it Juna was my last Blunderbirds, where I had to like go and rescue Kerbals from the surface of Juna. And then there were some other Kerbals like 20 kilometers away, also on the surface of Juna, that needed rescuing. So I had to have this craft that had another craft that popped out and flew over to... It was a really sort of a big, elaborate mission. And it was a really... That was like really sparked my interest. It's like when I saw the Reddit post for that mission, I don't know why I'm even talking about it because this is a different video, but we're on this storyline now, aren't we? That's why I was like, I just started thinking in my head, like, this is how I would probably do it, and I would do this, and do that, and do this. And I was like, let's make a video about this. And I had a sort of similar reaction when I saw this Reddit post. So what I'm saying, guys, is that try not to limit yourselves when playing Kerbal Space Program. Really try and go for those big, elaborate missions that are really complex and difficult. And then, if everything goes wrong and your Kerbals get stuck, there's a very high chance that I'll rescue you. So there you are. I want to inspire the new generation of Kerbals. That's what I want to do here. And here we are. We have docked to the gateway station. As you can see, very little fuel on board the station itself. There was no way Jeb, Bill, and Bob would have been able to make it back themselves. I think the original plan for that No Worry 2580 had was that the lander on the surface of the Mun has enough fuel that when it returns to the gateway station, it can then refuel the craft at the gateway, and then they can all get home themselves. But of course, the lander, which is where we're about to head to, by the way, is fallen over. And I did think about including some footage in this video of me attempting to right the lander, but it's just not that interesting to look at. I even tried like bouncing it against the parallax rocks, but I just could not get it to right itself. I'm sure, with lots of time and effort, you could probably get a Kerbal out on EVA maybe and like bonk the Kerbal's head against the lander's nose cone and, abuse time warp and things like that, and you could eventually get the lander to flip up. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm just trying to make a video here. I'm just trying to put food on my table, get my rent paid, and make a video. So, didn't really... if anything, I didn't want the lander to be writable, because then I didn't have a video to make. I'm like, there's no need to make a video. Everything is fine. I did actually have this happen once, many moons ago. I want to say literally 2018 or whatever, a long time ago. The one and only mission to Dres that I've done in Blunderbirds, I loaded up the save file and the person's lander was on Dres, and I was like, this lander is fine. It has enough fuel to go back to Kerbin. So I literally just deliberately crashed it into the Dres Canyon and was just like, oh no, I guess we... And I'm not this isn't a big expose, I do this in the video, so don't cancel me just yet, guys. I did make it very clear in the video what I was doing. But yeah, and here you are, by the way. I didn't really explain my methodology here because, I don't really do things properly when it comes to landing. So there's a brilliant Scott Manley video, of course, from way back in the day. He showed you kind of how to do missions like this. So landing at a very specific point on the Mun to do a rescue mission. And he was like breaking out trigonometry and explaining formulas you can do, and you make a maneuver node and, you know, calculate this, that, and all. That's how I used to do rescue missions back in like 2014, whenever it was. Oh, there goes that lower fuel tank stage. Well, I really like how that. I was really happy with the design of this landing. You know, it's kind of cool having that little claw lower stage. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, and he was mentioning like doing trig and all this, and you know, in his video he was so accurate that he ended up basically just landing directly on top of the stranded vessel. And you know, these days I'm like, who's got time for that, right? Just add a bit more delta V into your lander. Like, look at this. We have, you know, over 2,000 meters per second of delta V remaining at this stage. Just add more delta V and just eyeball it. Because isn't that just the more Kerbal thing to do, right? You know, just eyeball it. We've got the fuel. We can fly there. And it's a video game. And this is just more fun to me. So I'm starting beef with Scott Manley. This is an official drama alert. Is that even still a thing, drama alert? I don't really follow like that. I don't really follow like the YouTube side of YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Like to this day, I have never seen a Mr. Beast video. I think one might have autoplayed once. And literally, they're so over-edited. Like, I guess because he's obviously competing with, like, the TikTok attention spans. But literally, it just starts. It's all bright colors, and there's the constant subtitles, and everyone's shouting. And I'm so old, guys. Everyone's shouting, and there's constant transitions. And literally, I have a migraine. Like, it's one thing I like when I want to start watching a video. And it's like, hey, guys, and there's just the subtitles. Every single word appears on screen as text. It's like, I just can't. I just have to pause the video. I just have to skip forward like 20 seconds. Because most of the time, you know, I don't hate the player here. They hate the game. You know, most of the time, these guys hate doing it too. I've done it a couple of times. Maybe not quite as extreme, but my content is different, right? It's not like a face cam video. It's a video game playthrough, right? I'm just as guilty because, like, you know, you gotta survive. It's a tough old world out there. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So yeah, but yeah, literally, it's just it's cool. I call it like the YouTube ADHD editing. Yeah. By the way, here we are. I'm trying to get back on track now. We've deployed that little rover just there and have docked it to the lander. Didn't that work out so well? I did, like, in preparation for this mission, I used the cheap menu to just teleport my lander to the stranded lander to make sure that my rover's docking port was the right height. The stranded lander was there. Started rolling away. Luckily, it had RCS, so I could quickly stop the roll and not have it collide with the rescue ship. But yeah, did a lot of testing with this. So luckily, kind of the reaction wheel I've got on board is very, very powerful. So I can easily just tilt this rover whichever way I want if the docking ports aren't quite aligned. And there we are. We have transferred the first two of the four tourists from the stranded lander. Like I say, tourists cannot go on EVA. So this was my solution for getting the tourists from the stranded vessel and onto the rescue vessel. I get it's not completely realistic because they're transferring onto a fuel tank, and they'll also have to transfer through a decoupler, which doesn't work. But you know, let's just all suspend our disbelief. It's a video game, right? It's all about having fun, is it not? And that's why I'm beefing with Scott Manley. What did I mean? Oh yeah, then I started talking about YouTube ADHD editing, and then I didn't finish what I was saying there. Yeah, like, I'm sure the guys that have to edit like that, they don't want to. Like, I've been watching a lot of this channel called All the Gear. It's really good. It's very British, quintessential adventure channel. And they start their videos with like the old Mr. Beast editing, like loads of subtitles and whoosh whoosh transitions and sound effects. And after like 20 seconds, it just chills out and it's just like a normal video. I think it's just because like it's exhausting to do editing like that. And so you just do it to get the audience in, and then you just cut to nice, soothing, wonderful videos about what did I watch of theirs recently? They tried to kayak from like down a river to the sea, and the kayak got a puncture and it sank, and that was the video, and it was great. I enjoyed it. So yeah, I guess don't subscribe to this channel, subscribe to that channel. So yeah, now we've got, because to get to the other Kerbals across, they are just regular old Kerbals. They could just EVA. As much as I did like the rover solution, was a bit clunky and cumbersome to drive, like any rover is in Kerbal Space Program 1 and 2. So, yeah, I just EVA'd them across. And there we are, I do believe, I'm just checking in there, that every seat is now occupied, which means the rescue is complete. Of course, we need to get off the man ourselves, otherwise we have just made the problem worse. But there we are. We can ascend and just head on back to Kerbin, I guess. So yeah, I guess obviously this is going to be the final Blunderbirds mission of 2024, right? Because we've only got because I upload on Saturdays, right? And then how many Saturdays we've got left? So I'm planning to upload this one on the 14th. That just leaves the 21st and the 28th. So 28th, yeah, that's like Christmas week. To be honest, guys, I'm probably not gonna make a video that week because it's Christmas. So that means just one more video left in the year. Oh my goodness, getting a bit emotional now. What should the video be? Comment below if you made it this far into the video. A good idea for I guess a Christmas special. I've done a few. I often do a little Christmas special Kerbal video to some sort of capacity, like I've done, and I did a Santa's Sleigh SSTO. I think that to date is my favorite one I've done. It's basically I built janky reindeer out of stock KSP parts, and the whole thing was an SSTO. It flew to a space station in orbit where we delivered some presents and then flew back. And then I think, was it 2022? I sent a giant present to a Minmus colony. Oh my gosh, this year I was meant to do a Minmus colony, wasn't I? I genuinely just forgot to do that. Yeah, so maybe in the new year I'll do Minmus Surface Colony for real this time as one of the missions I do in 2025. But yeah, good Christmas special, good end of year specials for 2024. I'll have to have a good think. And well, is New Glenn gonna launch soon? Maybe I could do a New Glenn recreation if that launches this year. But I don't believe it's even done its hot fire yet, at least at the time of you recording this video. So it's looking increasingly unlikely. But hey, there is still always time. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's sort of happening in the news that's relevant. There's a new graphics mod for KSP that looks pretty good. It's the I don't know what it's called. It's called shiny graphics. I think I do know about it, so I will look into it at some point. Maybe that could be next week's video. I haven't decided yet. So yes, very much now outsourcing my channel's subjects to its subjects. Nah, you guys are the best. So thank you for sticking through this far. Here we go. Splashdown. There we are. Kind of killed by the fact I forgot to disable physics time warp. So normally I like to have the splashdown slowed down to real-time speed. And I slowed the edited footage down. It's not sped up in post, but it was sped up in game because I forgot to turn off physics time warp. So there we are. Well, I see the end screen has appeared, which means I need to start wrapping things up. So thank you so much to my Patreon and YouTube supporters. Names are on the right there. Merry Christmas to you all and everyone who's watching as well. Leave a like if you liked the video. Thank you so much to Novium Hoverpens for sponsoring this video. Do check them out. They are, honestly, they're so cool. I love them. And yeah, that's the end of the video. I will catch you in the next one.